Hi everyone, I'm going to react to Spy Family episode 19, a revenge plot against Desmond / Mama becomes the wind. Okay. Last episode was you already trying to teach Anya, right? For they're having a study lesson, yeah, for her midterms and whatnot. And yeah, it wasn't going according to plan, so he left. And then you had the midterms come, right? And then what am I about to say? Deku. I just finished watching MIT, so I'm like confused a little bit. So Lloyd decided to sneak into the school and change her grades sort of so that she doesn't lose, fail, whatever. And then we met this apprentice spy called Daylight, I believe. This guy just was the worst. And he was sent there to make the Desmond kids fail. But then Lloyd changed their exams back and whatnot. But by the end of it, Anya didn't fail. She was number 200 or something, but she didn't fail, so that was good. And before we get into this episode, if you guys have a reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and please consider supporting my Patreon, patreon.com/filmmini. And now let's start this episode, and here we go. I wonder if these two different parts are going to be connected like yesterday's episode. You know, when they started this episode, they were like 1 month ago or something or other like that. Mama went. The first place Mama went was like maybe this guy, Blood Gluman or whatever, that he was working with Desmond, and they somehow came with the plan of the dog attacks and whatever on the minister from West Dallas that came to East or whatever, that they were behind it or something or other like that. But no. It now makes complete sense why Daylight was so not great at being a spy, because he was hired by Gluman's son, thinking that he thought that Desmond's father basically destroyed their company and that they were going to be left with nothing, and so he wanted sort of like revenge, and then he gave his money to this old dude. So this dude doesn't know nothing about spies and stuff, and then he hired that big break person and whatnot. Then he goes to school. He tried to they were sweeping the courtyard or whatever, and then he brought in a cigarette butt, and then he dropped it on the floor. He tried to make it seem like it was Damien that brought it, and then when he faked himself confronting him about it, and then wanting to go to the teacher, and then when Damien tried to stop him, he sort of like punched himself and then fell on the floor or something or other like that. He did some kind of move and fell, and then he started crying. The teacher was like, "What's going on?" And then he's like, "He was trying to tell you about the cigarette and everything, but then Damien punched me and all of that," trying to make it so that Damien gets expelled. But our girl saw everything that happened, so she went and told the professor that, with her eyes, her making those eyes at the professor and telling the professor that no, it was not the second stone's fault, that he didn't do that. She saw everything that happened, and then the professor was like, "Those eyes seems like they can look through you or something like that." Anything. He just basically told Gluman, what's his name? I don't know, not to do these things anymore, and then he left. And That's when Gluman was basically trying to told them the story the way he believed it to be, and telling them that this is probably like gonna be the last day that they were gonna see him at the school. And then he was taking advantage of that and asking for stuff. At first, Damien offered him juice. And like I said, when they brought in the apple juice, the way the scenes were being played out, it was being so dramatic and stuff. And then he's like, I'll buy you some juice. And then he was like, apple juice. And then I saw him, the thing with the apple juice. And I'm like, he just basically brought to mind that these were kids that were basically being so dramatic or something like that. I don't know. Just the fact that the apple juice brought me to the, like, I knew they were kids, but it's just brought it to the forefront of my mind. That's why I was started laughing at that moment. And he's like, I wanted something with caviar. Okay, they gave him that, and then they were, what were they after that? He's like, he wanted to know how it feels like to have a Stella on you, and then Damien gave him his Stella and stuff. He's like, take a picture, and then people were like, you are doing too much or something like that, and then he was like, he also wished that they were gonna have some kind of choir thing, as a group and whatnot, and that he wished that he would be part of that as well. Let me see. Oh, I think Anya like tried to comfort him with her hands on him and whatnot, and that's when he started crying. And then he made the choral stuff, and then when the kids started singing, I think that's where I started tearing up. And then somewhere in there, I started sort of like smiling or laughing or whatever at myself at the situation, because it reminded me of, okay, in that particular moment, the reason why I started crying, because I felt, even though in the back of my mind, I felt like this was being too dramatic and it wasn't going to end that way, that this was actually not going to be this kid's last day of school, that he was going to keep coming. Like, in the back of my mind, I knew that. But in that particular moment, seeing him crying and seeing these kids rallying around him and giving him sort of like, I mean, he's thinking that this is his last day. They think that this is his last day. So they are basically giving him all the things that he wants, rallying around him, trying to make him feel better. He wanted to be part of the choir thing. So they basically started singing together with him. And in that moment, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that would it be nice if everybody was acted like kids, came together, like these kids were coming together in this particular moment for this one particular person, instead of all the things that are going on in the world right now, just seeing these kids being together in this particular moment as this one kid was crying and everything. That's where my tears started coming from. And then the reason why I started laughing, because I'm like, I was reminded of when they were making those stuff, and the first place that Anya and Damien got was for the Griffins and stuff. And you have the professor, the reason why he gave first place was because in his mind it's like, even though their world was crumbling down, they were still gonna rise from the ashes or something like that. And I'm like, in that episode, I'm like, okay, so you're looking at that and that's what you're thinking, So in this particular moment, I'm like, I'm seeing these kids rally against all that, and then in my mind, I'm thinking about this bigger picture in the whole world. So I'm like, okay, I guess it makes sense that the professor saw something in those makings, those designs, whatever, that Anya and Damien did, those griffins, that he was seeing something else when he saw that. And I'm like comparing myself to that professor, I'm also thinking of something else as I'm watching these kids together and all of that. So that's where my emotions were coming from in that particular moment. So they gave him all of these things to go, and then they were saying goodbye and don't forget us and stuff. The guy goes home. And the father basically told him, no, they were just in a financial situation, and the Desmond group helped us, and why not? So you are going back to school. Did you do your homework? And then he went back to school, and then everybody else was looking at him like, really? You better give us back all those things we gave you. I'm like, poor you. So that was that with the episode. Oh yeah, when Gluman, the little kid, was telling Damien that his company is behind why his company is going bankrupt. And Damien is like, my father would never do that. Our company would never do that. And I'm like, if, like, Lloyd is there to find out Desmond's plans and stop it, right? So that means Desmond is evil. So when Damien is like, my father will never do that, I'm like, well, yeah, he will. But in this particular moment, I don't know if it's just that, but who knows? When it comes to Gluman Pharmaceuticals or whatnot. Or maybe it's also part of their bigger plan, of Desmond's bigger plan and stuff. Oh yeah, the reason why Anya was trying to comfort little Gluman was because he was like, he was going to be sold as a slave to the West Dallas and whatnot. And since Lloyd is from there and he's trying to stop the war and everything, he's like, oh no, don't worry, West Dallas is a nice country or something or other like that. I don't know. So there was that. And then Mama Becomes the Wind is about Anya going to school, and there was her gym clothes left in her room, and excuse me, you all thought that she was going to knit it, right? And then she started parkouring all over the city, got into the school, found Anya, and then Anya's like, no, I don't really need it today because there's no gym today. He's like, oh, I'm a terrible mother. When she came into the school, Lloyd saw her, so he's like, what is she doing here? Did she follow me? And since he wanted to know exactly why he was there, whatever he was doing at the school, he cut that short and then met up with her on her way home, and he made up this excuse about going to see patients in their homes and whatnot, and then to basically ask her why she was there. And she told him, and she's like, I'm a terrible mother, and don't feel bad. He said, if she feels bad, it's gonna be bad for the mission. So he invited her to go eat someplace. So yeah, that was basically where the episode ended. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you want to see my reaction to the next episode, you can still by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/KiloMedia, and you can also see the full info of this reaction there as well. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.